up and get your joy up. Embrace this brand new day. Let light and love fill you up. Get your morning cup of Jubilee. So much goodness waiting, so much overflow. All this anticipation. Morning cup of Jubilee. Faith, love, and joy, the equation. Feeding your soul, you're amazing. Daily you're celebrating. Morning cup of Jubilee.
Good morning. You have tuned into Morning Cup of Jubilee. I decided to go live today. How y'all doing? I hope that you have your mugs, your cups, your tumblers. And I hope I don't have lipstick all over my teeth. But I hope you have your cups, your mugs, your tumblers. This is today's play of the day. It is a song by yours truly called Back to Me. And I hope that you enjoy.
Covers over my head, don't wanna face the music. This whole melody's abusive, got me all confused. What a nuisance, crazy what you called me the day after you adored me. I'm running from myself. That's why I stay with you, that's why I lay with you. Spending my time wasting life with you. You used to be attractive, now you're my distraction, that's the truth. Yeah, like stare at my reflection, cause I just never tapped in. Thought I wasn't worthy to be loved completely. At this intersection, without any direction, somebody help me please. Help me find my way back to me.
And we're back. That was Back to Me, studio version. Yours truly. Look at all this coconut oil. I love me some coconut oil. How y'all doing? Welcome to Morning Cup of Jubilee live edition. Trying something different today. Good morning, Brooklyn. What's up, Lizette? How you doing? So listen, today's episode, before I get into that, is called Healing After Heartbreak. I did an episode last week called How I Heal, so I'm going to be tagging onto that and sharing. But first, I want to dedicate today's episode to my sunshine, a friend of mine who has been with me through thick and thin, through both cancer diagnoses, just to hold space. She's the friend that is able to hold space. And I could be like, hey, tomorrow I want to be a giraffe. She's gonna be like, really? Tell me more about that. And by the time the conversation's done, I'm either gonna believe that I can be a really great giraffe or change my mind and decide that I still want to be a human, right? But regardless, like she is that friend that holds space. So this is my shout out to my sunshine, who also became a Delta woman. So congratulations to you, love you, and thank you for being a friend. All right, so today's sip of inspiration is about healing after heartbreak. So if you can recall, last week I talked about how I healed. I talked about Wellness Wednesday, that I carved out my own time to heal, and that healing is intentional, right? And that it's not a thing that just happens because time goes on, right? Just like if we get a wound and we don't go and it needs stitches and we don't go get it, it will kind of heal, but it won't heal as well as it should. It opens us up for infections and all sorts of things because it wasn't treated properly. When we're dealing with our spirits, when we're dealing with our souls, our minds, and the healing thereof, it is important to ensure that we get appropriate treatment, right? And yes, professional treatment in terms of, seeking a counselor or therapy, support groups, but I'm talking about also like how intentional we are about saying that I am heartbroken. This has bothered me. This has disappointed me, whether it's a one-shot deal or something that's happened repeatedly. And I need to take some time to really heal from this. Okay. And one of the things that I wrote in my book, The Crisis and the Crown, you can find it on Amazon, right, is that healing is not sequential. So we hear where people go, you need to wait to do this before you do that, or maybe you should try this first before. And it's just like, everybody's journey is different when we're thinking about healing. And I never see healing as like an absolute thing. I think we'll all be healed when we go to Jesus, when we go to Jesus, when we go to heaven. Let me pull my notes up, right? But I also think that it's a process. It's an ongoing process, right? And so I hope that I can find my notes. Here we go. So that is the one thing that I want to say, right? It is a process. And when I love you, have a blessed day, my beloved son. um, sorry, I love my sons. Just pray over your children, okay? And make sure that they have a great day and hear you in their ear and know that you love and care about them in this cold, cold world. Okay, anyway. All right. So I had to put my notes up. Healing, right? It's a process. That was my point for my whole spiel, right? Healing after heartbreak. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about heartbreak because sometimes people feel like, they minimize experiences. And I'm talking about all kinds of heartbreak. I'm talking about romantic heartbreak. I'm talking about friendship heartbreak, right? Maybe you were in a long-term relationship or you were married, got divorced like me. You had a friend that was your ride or live, your ride or die. You're no longer friends anymore. You had a job that you really loved, you got laid off, you got fired unexpectedly, right? You have a relationship with your child that was going great, and then suddenly something happened, and now y'all ain't talking no more. Y'all don't rock with each other anymore, and that's your child, right? You experience rejection in a place that is extremely tender, abandonment. Like all of these things can lead to heartbreak. And so the first thing that I want to say is for you to not minimize your experience. Heartbreak is heartbreak. It is where you're experiencing deep, disappointment around a specific thing. So the first thing I want to say is heartbreak comes in all different forms, right? The second thing that I want to say about healing after heartbreak, in addition to what I said last week about healing being intentional, is that it is important to ensure that you sit in the pain, right? I know that sounds weird, like sit in the pain. Who wants to do that? Let me show you what it looks like. So, naturally, like you stub your toe, you walking by your bed and you hit your toe, you're like, ow. Like, I mean, unless you eat those for breakfast, unless you like, hey, that's just my toe. Like, we good. Like, that don't, most of the time, you stub your toe on something or you accidentally hit your head on something or you trip, you're going to take that moment real quick, like, ow, like, oh, shoot, like, what was that? And at least look back, like, what was that just brought me pain? That hurt. That's what I mean by sitting in pain with your emotions. Too many times we wear masks, too many times we wear masks and it's just like, oh, just keep it chucking, just keep going, just go, like, we're good. Like, no. At some point you've got to stop and say, no, that hurt me. And I'm not exactly sure why, right? Maybe it's because of who did it, when they did it, why they did it. There's all sorts of reasons. But until we stop and actually think about it and sit in the pain, right, we're not able to identify the root, right? And again, sometimes you need help with that root. If you need a therapist, a counselor, I had one. It helped me greatly to process my emotions, my perspective, right? And so sometimes you need help. But please don't try to skip that step by wearing a mask. And, we do it very well in this country. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Good. Fine. All the time. Or don't even know that the person going into the bathroom stall to get themselves together because they had the roughest morning of their lives. I'm good. How you doing? How you doing, sis? You good? All right, bro. What's up? You good? Yeah. I'm good. Like, stop wearing a mask, please. And I know it's like, but what if people judge me? And what if they do? And who made them judgy enough, for you? Like who made people qualified enough to judge your experience? Like who did it? So that's that. Sit in the pain, reject wearing the mask because there is more support out there when you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I understand that it's okay to not be okay. I understand that, things will get better, but the beginning of my healing journey begins with me being honest about where I am and not saying, oh, I'm okay when I'm really not. Okay. I don't know why I thought I found this little, oh, I did find it. Okay. The other piece is What's hidden can't be healed. Right. That's the other piece. And it goes with the mask, right? Like, and that is also in my book, The Crisis and the Crown. I wrote that as I was going through my divorce, right? What's hidden can't be healed. Right. So we talked about removing the mask. And also the example that I put in my book is like my son, he tripped down the stairs when he was younger. He ended up breaking his arm in two places. And Daddy, y'all heard me talk about Daddy, my superhero, a few episodes back, where he went to the freezer real quick and made a splint and wrapped Zachary's arm up with I think it was spinach, peas, whatever it was. We got him in the back of the car and drove, to the hotel where I gave birth to him. And we got there, and of course they had a field day because the boy showed up and he had all this frozen peas or vegetables, whatever it was, wrapped around his arm. And they were saying, "Oh, you did so well because you definitely kept the swelling down. But check this out. We need to do an X-ray. So we're gonna have to unwrap that arm." And I'm good because my child about to get treatment, right? I wasn't actually good in the moment, right? But I wasn't as bad as what I was about to be, is my point, right? Because they were like, "We got to unwrap that arm." I'm like, "All right, that makes sense. You got to be able to see it. So now y'all see it and y'all gonna stabilize my child, give him the meds." They were like, "Yeah, no." So we have to unwrap it and we have to do the X-ray in order to see where it's broken or if it's broken. Because at this point we had suspected it was, but we didn't know for sure. And then we'll be able to give him pain meds. So I had to stand in that X-ray room, okay? And in a corner, like I didn't like weep, but I was close to it because I had to watch them. I had to watch them X-ray my child's arm and hold an arm that was broken in two places underneath the X-ray, right, to get the pictures while he is screaming in pain. Imagine watching that as a human being, as a mom. Like I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it, right? But that is where I got that word from. Like, what is hidden can't be healed. They're like, "Ma'am, there's no other way. Like, we can't just be giving him stuff. We just can't be saying, 'Oh, take this meds.' No, we got to go into the situation and see what's going on." And through the X-ray, they identify, "Oh, yeah, it's broken in two places. I forgot the fibula, the tibula, what all the tibias was broken." That's the point, right? But after they did that, then they were able to give him pain medication, right, to help manage the pain. And so that's that. What's hidden can't be healed. I learned that from my child. He's 14 now, but he was 7 then, right? And here's the last piece. The last piece that I'll say is acceptance. Acceptance. This is a big part of healing. The part where we say, this person is showing up however they're showing up, and I get to decide how I want to show up, not just for that person, right? Because that person, likely, if they cause a heartbreak, they're gonna be out the door, right? But to myself and for myself, right? How am I going to show up for myself? Given that I know this information about this person, they have moved this way. I have enough information to know this is not healthy for me. It's toxic for me. It's causing me to not have peace of mind. It's causing me to feel anxiety. It's causing me to feel fear. It's causing me to feel inadequate. It's causing me to feel incapable. This is not somebody that I need to have in my life, right? I do not feel seen, valued, heard when I'm around this person, when I'm in this place, right? Acceptance is getting to the place where I'm not approving what you're doing. I'm not approving how you treat me, right? I am accepting that the way you show up may never change. And am I okay with that? And then what do I get to do as a result of the way you have shown up? We have a choice in the matter. We have a choice in the matter, right? And we don't have to stay. We don't have to stay in situations, in places, in positions, in jobs, in relationships, in friendships that are not healthy for us. Okay. I held on to relationships and friendships longer than I needed to because I thought, oh, well, that's like the God thing to do. I think God be up there like, I told you about Shawalanda 5 years ago, right? You was being a glutton for punishment, child. Right. So we've got to use discernment, right? All right. So I'll wrap it up here. Acceptance, try it. Look in your life. If you're experiencing hurt, pain, right? Disappointment, rejection, abandonment, any of those things, and I know the list is way longer, just understand that you have a choice in the matter to accept, not approve, but to accept, to acknowledge this person is showing up how they are, and you have a right and a choice to move away from that so that you can keep on your healing journey, right? You can't heal in the place that broke you, nor can you heal with the person who broke you, right? And there might be a lot of thoughts around that, but that's what I believe. And sometimes you need a fresh start, a new environment, so that you can hear God's voice, right? And I'll end with this. The scripture says that God is close to the brokenhearted. I should have pulled it up. It is definitely a Psalms, and maybe I'll have to go back in the description. But just know that God is with you. He's near to you. And sometimes the furthest away that you feel from him is the closest he is to you. So tap into that, right? And that's today's sip of inspiration. I want you to tune in every Wednesday, 7:30 a.m. This replay will be available. I want to know, if are you healing from something? Do you need prayer? Go ahead and drop it in the comments. Please subscribe to It's Jubilee TV, and I will see you all next time.